Right, so Manny, a question that I've asked everyone, if you could go back in time to 18-year-old Manny and give him some advice, what would you say to him?
All right, so I've had this like theory about advice, and previously it was like, this is the advice I'd give. Like, try this, try that, you know. But the advice you give depends on the time. So giving advice is slightly irrelevant, and I think Jay-Z actually, you know, I love Sean Carr. Jay-Z, he said this thing. He was on this podcast. He's like, the advice I give my daughter is the advice I'm giving from the perspective of where I've lived, what I've been through, and where I am now. He says like her life is more digital. There's like AI. There's virtual reality. There's all these things that I never had to deal with. So advice that I'm going to give an 18-year-old me is like, it's going to be some simple truths. It's like, the truth is, you really do get what you put in. So it's easy for people to say that, and people say work hard. I believe you have to work hard to an extent, but work smart. Also understand your journey. So where's your destination? If you don't know your destination, it's a bit pointless. I'm not sure there's this thing of also like always knowing where you're going and always know what you wanted to do. I never knew I wanted to be where I am now.
So what was 18-year-old Manny doing?
So I had a broken ankle. So I was playing semi-professional football. Well, I say playing, I was trying to get through training sessions, get through matches. I was hitting the ball with my laces, and my heel would hit the back of my ankle, and I'd get really bad pain. So I was probably spending more time not playing, training a lot, but just kind of trying to work out what I'm going to do because I knew my ankle wasn't right. I was passionate about understanding what was wrong with my ankle, so that pushed me towards understanding biology, physiology. But I was actually partying a lot.
So what was you studying at the time?
At the time, I was studying sports, BTEC in sports and exercise science.
Okay, and that was that with a view to like, I'm going to go on this career path, or was it just
No, I wanted to be a professional footballer, so that was it. I wasn't like going to study. I was 18, I had broken ankle. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. Then one day I said like, this is my ankle. I said to my lecturer, like, my ankle's, there's something wrong with it. He said, why didn't you become a physio? And I said, yeah, actually, why didn't I do that? And then that was it. And
just like
I just decided I was going to be a physio. And well, I wanted to know what was wrong with my ankle because nobody could tell me, but I knew it was painful. So I was like, I'm not lying, so I need to know what's going on. I was determined. So I guess like the advice I'd give to 18-year-old me was be as determined as you are now, as constant and consistently as you can in your life. And I think that will elevate you. But also, the other thing I would say is not everybody doesn't know what they're doing. So don't feel like you need to know. So people around me at universities, when I was applying for university, when I did lots of different things, I would think everybody knew what they were doing.
They don't.
But actually people are also trying to work it out for themselves. Like the university is trying to work it out, your football coach is trying to work it out, your physio is trying to work out what's wrong with your ankle. But in my head, I was always used to think everybody knows what they're doing but me. But actually, we know in the world, globally, economists don't know what they're doing. Inflation's high. People don't understand salaries. And like, there's lots of different issues around the world. And people
so what was your first step into physiotherapy?
I did sports therapy as a degree. So I wanted to rehab athletes because I was injured and I wanted to understand how to get myself better. So that was my first step, and then I did a period of time at Chelsea Football Club. And that was through a family friend at a youth club, and he put me through with a physio called Jason Palmer. He was a Chelsea academy physio, and when I saw him as a Chelsea academy physio, I said I would like to be a physio too, because I knew that they weren't employing sports therapists, so I thought I need to become a physio. So I would say it was a journey. I thought I wanted to be a sports therapist in elite sport, and then I found out that you had to do a physiotherapy degree. So I did sports therapy for 3 years, physiotherapy for 2 years. So I was at university for 5 years.
And then what was like the next step? Where did you go after Chelsea?
So after Chelsea, I went back to university to do my masters.
Okay.
After doing my masters, I was at Fulham Academy. That was for a job application.
Yeah.
Just applied for that. So yeah, 3 years degree, about 6 months at Chelsea, and then I did a 2-year degree in physiotherapy, a master's, and then I did about 18 months at Fulham Academy.
Okay, so did you have it kind of mapped out for yourself, like, I'm going to be a physiotherapist at a football club, and, you know, that's what I was going to do? Was it like that for you? Did you have it kind of mapped out in your head?
Yeah, I think there was a dream that I could help similar players if they had like a problem, and I could try and help solve the problem. I guess at some point I did think, I'd like to work in football. And then it got to a point where when I was working for Fulham, we did this away game, and it was a really long game. Left at 6 a.m, got back at like 7 p.m, 8 p.m. And I decided I love the game. I love working in the game. But I also wanted to get the plethora of knowledge. Like, I wanted to be as knowledgeable as possible. So I knew I had to do something else, and what I ended up doing was working in the NHS and working in different like institutes in the NHS and places in the NHS.
So was that just the pure catalyst for you to make that change? The fact that, you know, you just wanted to diversify your knowledge?
Yeah, because when you work in elite sport, you are kind of governed by doctors and reports and things like that. But when you work in the general population, or you work with some athletes and you're your own boss, you get to basically investigate and work out and use your mind and problem solve. Yeah.
So going back to yourself, was you able to like rehab your ankle yourself, like self-rehab?
No, I think that's like something that we think we can do, but it's not really possible. I think being a professional is all about knowing when to get support, I think.
Yeah.
And at first I was trying to problem solve and work out what was going on, but really, in reality, the best professionals have teams, and they have somebody who supports them, who can like fill in the gaps. Just from a cultural perspective, and I think for me, myself, I don't like asking for help.
Okay.
And knowing that, and probably that's one thing I'd say to 18-year-old me, is like, be okay with telling people, this is what I know, but this is where I'd like to go. Can you help me? And I think my lecturer and I had a really good relationship, and that's how he got me onto the physiotherapy degree, because he helped me with all my applications.
Okay.
But I would say I would be really open about getting support, getting help with my ankle. I never really... Well, I rehabbed it to an extent near the end on my own, because I had all the tools. Like, somebody had seen me. I'd had a support from a physiotherapist and a sports therapist. But inevitably, I think everybody needs help. Like, there's no self-made people. Like, if somebody says they're self-made, I think they're not.
There's always a helping hand somewhere along the line. So how did you transition from NHS to where you are now, where you're like working for yourself?
So when I was in the NHS, I used to do a lot of content. A lot of physios who I used to work with in the NHS were like, oh, you do so much content, blah, blah, blah. And that was it, really, just the content. And then it just like word of mouth, and people got to know me. I treat predominantly runners. I'm a Nike running coach as well, which I never thought of. I never knew it would become something that I'd do. But now I'm really passionate about like well-being and understanding the gap between like somebody being fit and somebody being healthy. Because I think you can be healthy, you know, sleep really well and do all the good things, but you may not be fit. Being fit, I think, is really bespoke. So being fit is about, if you need to run a marathon, which I run, you know, you have to do certain things. You're at the other end of the spectrum. And when I'm fit, sometimes I don't sleep that well, actually. Like when I'm really, really fit, I don't feel like, I'll get to 11, 12 o'clock, I'm like, yo, I'm flagging. And that's because the amount of training you're doing is just a lot.
So you've gone from employment to self-employment. What what made you make that leap? Was it the fact that you started to get more private clients that made you kind of make that decision, or you just kind of wanted to be your own boss? Like, what made you make that kind of leap?
I really want to be my own boss. I think being your own boss is the most empowering thing you can do. Being your own boss is the hardest thing you'll ever do, but being your own boss allows you to define your destiny, which is the most empowering thing you can do.
Yeah.
Nothing else is written. Like,
Yeah.
you can make as much money as you are willing to make,
Yeah.
depending on how hard you work and how smart you work.
Yeah.
Just remember that second one, because a lot of people get into like working hard constantly, but I think it's about working smart.
Yeah.
And we're in a place now where there is Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, all these different places where you can go direct to a person.
Yeah.
To support you, and there are lots of people who are willing to support you, and the people who are willing to support you are probably the people you don't know.
Yeah. So you say being a boss is, or being your own boss is like one of the most powerful things, but obviously it comes with pitfalls as well, because like you're now managing other areas. You're not just focusing on the physiotherapy side. You're now focused on accounting, marketing, brand building, all that kind of stuff. So did you go into it knowing that you was going to be doing those other aspects as well? And how did you take to doing that?
I didn't like learning new things, but now I do. I'm learning YouTube, I'm learning all these different things. Yeah. I've got an accountant. Yeah. I think build a team. If you don't know something, build a team. Yeah. It's hard to think about having to pay somebody to do something for you. Yeah. But it's one of the most, it's a good feeling when you don't have to do something you're not really strong on, my accountant does my accountant. So I don't really worry about that. And I pay him a little bit more and he gives me advice and stuff. And I think that's a good way forward.
But what about someone starting off who doesn't have the money to pay and start building a team? Like, how do they manage all the other different aspects? Because like the career span of a self-employed wellness professional is really short. Like, a lot of people are failing. And I feel like, for me, it was a thing of like, I got into the industry because I was passionate about coaching and working with people. But then the thing that weighed me down was like the marketing, the business side, the finance, all of the other stuff that I didn't actually think about. So for someone who's just getting into that and doesn't have the money to start paying people, like, how important is it, or how important would you say that they kind of learn about the other kind of areas of other factors of running a business?
I think it's integral, but we also have to remember that, from my perspective, I would say one of the key things I've understood is the health and well-being space. If we're really intelligent about it's growing. So what I would say is that you just have to be a bit more astute and value your time. So I find the people that do well is they have a fee, no matter what, that's the fee. Yeah. They will not negotiate, they will create barriers and boundaries. And I think if you can do that, and one thing that, like, I paid for a business coach recently. And I actively
What made you do that?
I actively try and invest in myself and understanding more every year. So investing in him, he did a whole spreadsheet of like, if you work this amount of hours, you'll earn this amount of money. If you work this amount of hours, you'll earn this amount of money. Basically, he gave me a breakdown of everything I could earn depending on how much I work. So there's a bare minimum I can earn and a maximum I can earn. He has given me insight into how much time I waste. We waste a lot of time. You could look on social media and you can identify how many times you have liked something. So what I would argue is, every time you like something, is that not a time that you could have posted something? We have a really bad ability to market ourselves and ask for people to come and buy or work with us. We do not promote ourselves as individuals. I think there's a guy called Grant Cardone, and he's a multi-millionaire. He's a real estate agent. The guy is always on my Instagram. I have to unfollow him. He's a multi-millionaire.
Yeah, and he's still constantly grinding.
And he's still constantly promoting himself. And he's telling you about the deals he's done, and he's saying, I want you to buy in, I want you to make some money.
Yeah.
It's like $180,000 to buy this apartment. And it's going to go up by $30 by the time it's built, and you're buying it off a plan. And this guy is a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
And he's asking you to buy an apartment Monday to Sunday. I don't ask people to come and see me as a physio.
Yeah.
Once a week. I don't think I ask them once a week.
Yeah, yeah.
But so I will be there liking other people's Instagram posts. So like I think I'm in the circle of people who could do more. And that's the be all and end all. Like the reason why I think people have a short shelf life in the well-being industry is because, you know, it's supposed to be like a vocational career. It's supposed to be you're doing it for the best of people, but that's at the exchange of us. Financially, socially, like emotionally, we're like working to the bone. I hear people do 5 a.m. till 8 a.m. and then they'll have to stay from 6 till 8 p.m.
Yeah.
I only do the morning. I'm like, if you can come in 8 till 1, that's it. And then I go home.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
was it always like that?
I value myself.
Was it always like that?
I've never really done double, like morning and evenings. Okay. I've never really done it. I've done either like I'll do the morning or I'll do the evening. Do
you know what? That blows my mind because when I first started out, I was one of those people. 6:30 a.m. I was in the gym and I left at 7:30 p.m., 8:30 p.m. Got home 9:30, had dinner, bed, back again. And for me, it was like, I just got to grind, pick up clients. And I was doing every hour under the sun until like you kind of get to burnout. So like for you to have that mindset that's like, I do 8 till 1 and that is my times and then I'm going home. Like if someone said, Manny, can I do 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock? Whereas I would be like, I can fit it in, I'm going to do it. You'll be like, no, that's my... And you've always had that mindset.
Always, yeah. I don't find value in like selling myself short, and I'd rather like spend money on my credit card than have to work. But, like our lives aren't about working. Our lives are about our lives are about creating and like being human beings. And human beings it's not always about working. Yeah. And the thing about it is, if you push somebody and they really want to see you, and you market yourself enough, they will come and see you.
So how strategic are you with your marketing?
Right now, not very, because I'm building my YouTube. So I'm building value first, trying to create more value and information. So when I do ask people for, to come and interact and work with me, I have videos that can give them an insight into how I think, and then from there they can book an appointment if things aren't working. out.
So with your business, do people only come and see you when something's going wrong?
No, I do manage and have people on retainer. So I have about 12 to 15 people on a retainer. So that's for their running and building their health and well-being. Okay.
So I know you said that you're a Nike running coach as well. How did that come about?
So I used to go to Nike events from 2012 onwards. And, I love running, and running's like it's an act of resilience and like an act of empowerment. So it was always something that was quite precious to me. I never thought about it as I'm going to make money out of this. I did get lots of questions when I was on runs. Oh, you're a physio. How can I get better at this? What should I do? Help me. And over time, I just was like, I'm not sure. This is the best space for me to help you, and all this kind of stuff. And then I made more and more videos, and people would ask me more and more about it, and people book in appointments with me. And one of the Nike directors, her name was Georgia, she was like, I think you'd be good at it. And I went for a run with one of the senior vice presidents or senior directors in the company. After that, I did get a taste for it, and I started to enjoy it. I started to do more research, learn about drills, and I program for marathons, and I've had quite a few people run marathons and run Boston qualifying times. And Boston qualifier means like there's a marathon where you have to run a specific pace for your age group. And it kind of happened by chance, by accident. But it's one of the best things that I've ever done.
So you never like initially planned to be like, right, I'm going to do physiotherapy and I'm going to be a running coach as well. That was kind of something that organically just happened.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the best ways for life to happen, because I think we plan and try and be strategic, but actually life happens and comes at you fast. So, you know, just sometimes don't be too strict, don't be too stiff. If somebody asks you to do something or to go somewhere, like, give it a go.
Yeah.
The reason why I went for a run at a Nike event was I was selling iPhones in Oxford Street. Yeah. At university, when I was doing my sports therapy degree, I worked at O2. So I sold like the first ever iPhone. That's right, I'm that old. And when I was selling that iPhone, this guy said to me, "Do you run?" And I was like, "Bro, I run 100 meters. I'll gas you up." Yeah. And then he just went, "Come to this run." And I went to the run and met loads of people, and then I just kept going, enjoyed it. And that was it. And then,
so initially you was a sprinter. You wasn't really...
I was a 100 meter sprinter, I ran for like West London, won like a West London thing. And I didn't think...
So where did the love for the longer distance come from?
So at the time I was running in the treadmill, in the gym on the treadmill. I'd run like 40 minutes just to warm up before I did strength work. Yeah. And then one day all the treadmills were taken, so I ran outside in the rain. Yeah. And that was it. I was like, that was a good experience. Yeah. And then did my gym session, and I was like, actually, I'm up for this.
So how many marathons have you done now?
18.
Wow.
Yeah, I've done London Marathon 4 times. I've done the 5 world majors.
What's the 5 world majors?
So there's 6 world majors, but I've done Berlin, Chicago, Boston, New York, London. Tokyo is the last one.
Okay. And is that scheduled?
No, it's hard to get into the Tokyo.
Oh, is it?
So I'm trying to run London Marathon in 2024 in 2 hours and 28 minutes. So that will be top 100. Yeah. And that will mean I can go to Tokyo.
Top 100, like overall?
Yeah, out of 40,000 runners, 48,000 runners.
Wow.
Yeah. So like at the kind of sub-elite level, there's not any black men who run because of time. Because, you know, if you run like 80 miles a week, it's probably about 8 to 12 hours. Wow. In your week. Yeah. So there's not many of us that run. So
now I understand why you're 8 till 1, because the rest of the time you've got training to be done.
I am literally training. Yeah. So sometimes it's tough because I wake up at 5. I'll train 5 till 6, go for like a recovery run, then I'll do my main session in the afternoon. Yeah. It's a lot, and I think, but that preservation of like my time is pretty important. I do think that we do sell ourselves short culturally, both in the health and well-being space. We're always last, but also as, I think, personally, like from a black male's perspective, we do try and do all the things that we think are going to make us feel good. I think one of the most important things are probably like curating our time and like having time for ourselves and not working like, you know, it's always like get it done, you know, firm it, you know. It's true. that those like words, you know, it's like that male kind of like, you know, you gotta be strong. That bravado. Yeah.
So you've gone for a run with the Nike VP. How did that relationship develop to now where you're like their running coach?
It was slow. I think there was just a time where after running with the VP, it was really, didn't really think anything of it. It was like, thanks, it was a really good run. That was it. And then I just went to more and more events, more and more Nike events. It was kind of like it was a silent kind of thing just happening in the background. And then it became something special. Yeah.
So what do you do with them now?
So do like in-app marketing, in-app content. I do discussions around footwear. I started my own running community in London. But I would probably say it's more of a lifestyle brand than a community. I think lifestyle is quite essential for running. As you know, I only work 8 till 1.
Yeah.
Try and have like really nice weekends. Basically, all my weekends are like get up early, go for a run, try and have the whole day. Because a lot of the time we try and have a lie-in, but then you kind of miss the weekend.
Yeah.
So London Select is the name of the group. It's about selecting lifestyle choices that are beneficial for you.
Okay.
So the lifestyle choice that we choose is to run at 8 a.m. on a Saturday, and then you have the rest of your weekend. You're finished by 10 and you can do what you like. I think lifestyle is more important than the actual sport. Most of the time, your lifestyle determines how healthy you are. It's not like you do exercise and you become healthy.
Yeah, no, I get you on that. And so in terms of like your business, is it quite diverse, or is it strictly, you know, physiotherapy and the work that you're doing with Nike? Is there other things that you're doing as well?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think like I want to try and dial into my physiotherapy a bit more, because I think there's knowledge there which people say is quite complex. So trying to make that knowledge a little bit more digestible is where I want to be. As I was saying before, I want to bridge the gap between health and fitness, so you can be healthy but not really fit, and then you can be fit but not really healthy because you're so fit for your sport. I think you're on a continuum. So my thing is like, how do I bridge that gap? How do I help people understand where they can be, what they need to do? And my thing at the moment is just making information and content digestible and easier to understand. And I'm passionate about like just having a good time, you know, talking to people on a level and saying like that you can do that, but you may get injured. Maybe you should try something else. And, you know, there's a new wave of people obviously getting into sport, but I think there's a big challenge around the black community specifically getting into running and lifestyle changes. We know that there's a disproportionate amount of the black community that suffer from like type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and that's what I'm really passionate about.
And what do you think that is? Do you relate that to like our diet primarily?
I don't think diet's the issue personally. No.
Okay.
I think sometimes we have shift work. I think socioeconomic challenges. So I think a lot of us sometimes are not, in my opinion, in the roles or positions maybe we could be in for lots of reasons. And then what happens is, because we're not in those roles or positions, our lifestyle is not, you know, it's not conducive for us to be able to exercise and do the things that we want to do. It's just like you saying, like, you were just getting client after client, whereas I was like, I do want to get clients, but I also just want to like have time, you know. And don't get me wrong, there'd be days where I would do 8 till 6, 8 till 6, 8 till 6, 8 till 6, but I'd never do like 5 a.m. till 8 a.m. Then the 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. I'll just do the longer days, office hours. You know?
So in your business, what are some of like the biggest challenges you faced?
More recently, obviously, like running physio is becoming really popular in London, so more competition, but competition's good. I think there is an element of price pressure, so cost of living is tough, and I want to work 8 till 1, so that means that I'm probably a little bit more expensive. So just...
How did you work out your pricing?
The business manager that I paid to help me with that. So somebody gave me this is how you should run your business, and I'm running my business like that. So I think you have to hold your value. Like, you have to remember that, like, you've worked hard to get to a certain point and get the knowledge. And also ask for clients.
And on the other flip side of that, what has been like your biggest career wins?
Ability to help people get back to doing what they do. Every time it happens, I'm like, this is why I started. So a lot of the time I'm just happy that when we have a good result, so somebody's back to running or they're pain free. Those are the career wins. And that's what I live for, like, every single day. I mean, it's not worth, I don't think it's worth you saying like you make 10, 15, 20, 50,000 pounds a month. Like, I don't think you won't actually be that much happier, because your job satisfaction is dependent on your emotional well-being, and your emotional well-being is definitely tied to human beings rather than products or money. Products and money make you feel good. They give you like luxury. They give you more time. So having more money means I can, like, once a month I look after my niece. So, like, you know, having that ability is great. But like, the financials come after you add the value. So add value. Just keep adding value. Like, tell people what you know. Learn something new and tell people what you know. One piece of advice I'd say to somebody, no matter which career path or industry you're in, every day is about proof of concept. So people want to know why you are doing what you're doing, no matter who you are. There are more and more people doing more and more things. So every day, why are you doing what you're doing? And what standard are you doing it to? Those are the two questions. If you answer those questions every day, you'll be busy, you'll be happy. And that's the most important thing.
No, I appreciate the time, Manny. That was a great piece of advice at the end. I think, like, I've even taken in some gems there as well. But in the near future, what do you kind of see for yourself?
So I think it's about growing the information base I have. So providing more information, providing more value, supporting more people get better in lots of different ways. Those are the two things I'm trying to do at the moment.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you.